Good evening, everyone, and welcome to, the time now is 6 p.m. Welcome to our May 26, 2026 legislative session of the Salisbury City Council. In the event of an emergency, please remain calm and exit through the double doors you came in. Make a right and proceed to the stairwell. If the hallway is blocked, then exit to the left, around the corner and down the stairs. Please do not use the elevator and let us know if you need any assistance. At this time, we ask that everyone silence their cell phones. Please silence your cell phones. I'm asking that everyone be respectful when making their comments, their public comments. Please be respectful of other people. Please, I'm asking you, no yelling out, no speaking out of turn, or anything. Be respectful. That's all I ask. We can now please stand for the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll have a moment of silence. When I have a presentation, Child Care Wycomico Women's Commission. Are they here?
Yes. I was going to say, you might not be here. Line out the... Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I appreciate the council taking the time to invite the Women's Commission and the Greater Salisbury Committee to talk about affordable childcare here within the city of Salisbury. Just some brief background for those who aren't familiar with the commission. Commission is an official commission for the county. We recommend policy and programming recommendations to both the county executive and the county council. We've been around for a number of years, but we decommissioned in the, I believe it was like the late 2010s, and you are kind of seeing a reblossom of the organization as we are reforming the foundation, the committee, and so you've seen us in some capacities when it comes to the city of Salisbury. Councilman DeShields knows that in her district we have the Pink Pantry. It's an initiative that we opened up in partnership with the city of Salisbury. It's been a fantastic partnership that we've had, and we're actually working to bring a new pantry to the Chewett Street Community Center as well. So this is just some insight into what we do. So the other facet that I've mentioned is just talking about policy recommendations. Our hope is to help you all understand some of the challenges and barriers facing women and families here in Wycomico County and in the city of Salisbury. And I will take a couple steps back before I allow Dr. Catherine Jones to speak on her white paper. We worked with the Presidential Citizen Scholars at the Salisbury University, and I believe they presented to you all potentially last year about their community strength survey. It was a phenomenal insight into where we have been doing really well as a community, but it also showed where some of those gaps were for some of our city residents and county residents. And we noticed that there was a gap in specific care for women, and that did include childcare. And as we've been doing some listening tours around the county, we have heard, two concerning barriers come from women when it comes to, raising their family, also entering the workforce. The two being transportation, and the second being childcare. So. This year, we actually stumbled upon a really fantastic collaborative opportunity. I was reaching out to Dr. Catherine Jones was actually my chair when I first joined the commission. I reached out to her with some insight and wanting to work through some solutions, and she actually happened to say that the Greater Salisbury Committee was actually working towards bringing some fantastic stakeholders together to kind of tackle this issue, find some insight into some data that might be helpful for you all, and hopefully work towards some good solutions. So, all right.
Thank you so much for letting me speak tonight. I am Catherine Jones. I am the chair of the Greater Salisbury Committee, but I also had the honor of chairing a child care initiative task force for the Greater Salisbury Committee, because we kept hearing over and over again the problems with finding affordable child care, finding child care alone, which was really putting young families in a bad position to be able to continue forward in particularly those in professional positions. And so I'll just highlight some of the data that we found. We worked in collaboration with Salisbury University, Warwick Community College, Tidal Health. We also had Shore Up at the table. We had many different representatives throughout the county to put this white paper together. It took about a year of us to put this in writing. So again, we appreciate you being allowed me to present this paper and just some of our findings, because this is the way I look at it. Every time childcare is even talked about, it's something that absolutely shuts down a conversation. And particularly when it comes from a female, the concern with childcare and being able to continue to work and or find means to make ends meet in your household, again, it's a conversation stopper. So we do appreciate this window of opportunity that we can have this conversation. So in the white paper, some of the things that really stood out were the fact that in Wicomico County alone, we have over 6,300 children ages 0 to 4 that live within the county, yet we only have about 3,300 available child care spaces availability, which shows that we are a significant difference between what is needed and what we have within Wicomico County. If you refer to page 2, there's just a shocking graph there showing the prediction as to how many child care facilities will be available in Wicomico County, and this is happening throughout the state of Maryland. Some of the reasons for the sharp difference in the closure of child care facilities is because of unintended consequences with Maryland's blueprint. And as county school systems pick up educating more 3- and 4-year-olds, that leaves daycare, private daycare facilities limited to providing services for those that are 0 to 2 years of age. And as most of us are aware, that limits them to about 2 children in their homes, and you can't make a living off of 2 children. So that's one of the reasons why we're starting to see the sharp decrease. I think a big thing, it just really impacts this area, particularly in Salisbury, is the fact that infant care alone is about $18,000 per year. For preschool, it's about $13,000 a year. Of course, our median income being only $47,500, which puts us at a great odd. About 37% of a family's income just goes towards daycare, and the federal affordability benchmark is only 7% for households to be able to survive and work, to be able to earmark that for daycare. I guess just overall. Maryland alone, their economy, we lose about $2.2 billion annually just due to the child care shortages. We've made some proposals in here as to what we can do to help. And we marked them as the 4 A's, and that's our call to action, is talking about availability, ensuring that there's enough childcare options to meet the needs of all of our families, accessibility, aligning childcare programs with parent schedules, transportation realities, and daily routines. And most importantly, when we look at our children that have special needs, it's even compounded for those families as well to find any kind of childcare. And we have a large population of students in Wicomico County that do have special needs, and we're not meeting the needs of the families in order for them to be able to receive these kinds of services. Of course, affordability is always going to be an issue, and accountability, upholding quality standards and professional expectations, which is making it even more difficult for child care providers to maintain their staff. As their credentials are having to be increased, many young professionals are moving into the public school systems because there's more money to be had in public school systems and benefits. So that's leading also to more closures. Just some key actions actions that we're recommending to strengthen childcare. We would like to look towards you for leadership and developing local policies to establish a coordinated regional childcare initiative that prioritizes the needs of our children, families, and workforce. And I do believe Megan's going to talk a little bit more about that here in a second with possible incentives. We are also looking to state and local leaders to recognize and plan for gaps between blueprint expectations and current workforce capacity to ensure practical and effective solutions. We're looking to local policymakers and community organizations to launch outreach initiatives to recruit and support new child care providers, particularly in underserved areas. We're looking for local governments and nonprofit or community partners to provide startup grants, reimbursements, and other incentives to make home-based child care financially viable and attractive. And we're looking to all leaders, state, local, and private sector, to coordinate efforts to build a unified child care system that strengthens children, families, and the local economy. And while I sit here, I know we've got a lot of business owners here tonight. I also encourage that all employers engage as proactive partners by sponsoring sustainable childcare solutions, offering shared childcare spaces, or providing flexible schedules. Even small contributions like part-time care support, shift flexibility, or partnerships with local providers can make a meaningful difference in reducing staff turnover and supporting families. Thank you very much.
So, and just some extra points onto what Catherine had mentioned. We are in a really unique spot where we are starting to see the effects of this impact of lack of affordable childcare. We're kind of on the cusp of what we would call a crisis here on the Eastern Shore. And so we are using this opportunity with this paper and this data to just share it with you all and hopefully collaborate with both our municipal and county leaders to find some solutions before this actually becomes a really big problem for our families and women here in Wicomico. We know that at the state level, they're looking to address this in a number of ways, but we also know that we are going to need some nuanced policy that's unique to us here in Salisbury. Most recently, Catherine and I joined the Wicomico County Council to talk about a piece of legislation. Nothing that can be enabled here at the city level, but I think it would be interesting for you all to know that we are advocating for families here in Salisbury at that capacity. It is a state legislation that enabled a property tax credit for childcare facilities here in Wicomico. That is really just to help ease some of the cost burdens that we are seeing. Most of our childcare facilities are at-home childcare. My mother growing up was a childcare provider. 85, I believe, % of our childcare facilities here in Wicomico are just moms who are opening up their houses, and it's getting more and more difficult for them to keep their doors open. We're talking about how we're starting to see a decrease in this availability. We want to do everything we can to make sure that they can keep their doors open so we have childcare accessibility for all families. So we see that as a short-term solution to helping address the problem, but we're open to conversations and continue conversations with you all to find longer-term solutions to help address this need.
Council, are there any questions?
I have one, if you don't mind. Is your coalition or the group working on making accreditation more easily acquired for some of these at-home moms? Because usually the classes that I've actually executed through the state, they were during the day. And accreditation is a big piece, unless the state's not requiring quite as much now.
We did have Salisbury University at the table, helping us with that and talking about the assistance that they do provide to child care providers that have, their home daycare. I think the issue at hand is having more information out there. So they can connect with Salisbury University for their services. And there's also amazing community block grants that can be given for startup funds for home daycares. That maybe that information isn't as much out there. So yes, there was a talk over the past year of just gaining momentum, being able to have more presence out there with Salisbury University and assisting with the accreditation process, yes. Most importantly, scholarship money that's available for daycare providers to be able to earn their degrees in early childhood education so they can be paid by MSDE to provide services for 3- and 4-year-olds.
They've upped the requirements since. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Dr. Jones, I want to go back to the original point you made when you first started, and that is unintended consequences. I think the public school involving themselves in pre-K, pre-K3, and pre-K4 has really reduced the ability for standalone daycares to exist. And the infant to 1 and 2 are the most expensive, the lowest ratio to child. Having sent my kids to to Asbury, I know that that's an alternative because people are willing to pay for that. I guess the question I come is that, we've turned now into what was otherwise a pay-for-service to a free service, and now we're acting like we're going to, which is a government expense, now we're asking to incentivize through tax credits the business model that the school broke up. Does that make sense from my perspective? So I guess there's probably a better pathway forward. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it doesn't seem like to me that, the government's here to help you and they created the problem to begin with kind of thing. So I guess what I'm asking is, has there been any thought of possibly the schools getting involved in the lower level?
Are you talking for 0?
Yeah, 0 to 3?
That conversation, I can say the conversation's being had, particularly for early intervention, more so than what infants and toddlers currently provides through Wycomico County. But there hasn't been a coordinated effort to provide services for that age group yet.
I know countywide, the pre-K 3 and 4 is about 1,600 students. Any idea what the 0 to 2 or 3 range is? How many kids we're talking about? 800 to 1,000?
I've got the statistics for up to 4, and it's over 6,500 children.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So even for the pre-K 3s that are available, there's not enough slots for the 3
Sure.
kids right now. But
Yeah.
as that program continues to develop in the county, what are we going to do for our 0 to 2s and to
Yeah.
keep the other, systems open and available?
Sure.
So we just wanted to provide a little information tonight.
Yeah.
We're hoping to look for some potential resolutions and come back with some more ideas. But we wanted to introduce the concept, and we're not going to let it go until we can find some wiggle room, particularly for our young professionals who want to attract people to Wycomico County, who want people to live and reside in Salisbury. And one of the first things that young families are looking for is the availability of childcare and early intervention care as well. And not having those two resources really doesn't reflect well on our community, because we do put children first. We do put families first, but we need to figure out a way that we can do it more so comprehensively, so we can also have families that can work and hopefully strive to have a larger median income than $47,000 a year. So, thank you.
So I just had a quick question. Well, it might not be quick necessarily. Quick question, it might be a longer answer. But can you go a little bit into the tax credit that you guys are talking about with the county that involves the state and that sort of thing, and what we can do as a municipality that comprises of a large portion of the county's population? What can we do to help you guys get that moved along? Like, are you facing resistance? Are you is everybody moving it along and on board? Where are we with getting that done?
So our first council meeting was really just an introductory conversation. This property tax credit legislation was a part of a statewide initiative that was picked up by the Maryland Commission for Women, and our goal was to, in every county, at least have the conversation with our county council members about implementing this. So far, we've seen 3 counties statewide, I believe, implement this tax credit. So we're still having conversations. Our council members had a couple questions. We were able to get the answers. We're going to be following back up with them. But please, we would always encourage the city, if they're interested, expressing interest to the county council, letting them know that you all are supportive of this type of initiative, or at least having an opportunity to be a part of the conversation. As we mentioned, this is just one tool in a toolbox, is how we see it. We don't see this being the sole solution. We see this hopefully being one of many to help us kind of reach the needs for families here.
And speaking to what Sharon, as someone who has gone through the process of, credentialing and all of that, and I haven't had a daycare for almost 10 years now, and I still get phone calls from people looking for childcare. I mean, people are really desperate for it. So whatever we can do to encourage and help, especially, these family childcare providers like I was, it's very hard. Most of the stuff, most people don't know that there are grants. Most people don't even know that there are those things. So if there's a way for us to help get that word out, I think that would be really helpful for a lot of them, because a lot of them are based out of Salisbury as well. Do we know exactly how many do you have in here? I haven't.
Within the city of Salisbury limits, I can get that for you, because
Yeah.
we do have it broken up geographically, but I don't off the top of my head, unfortunately.
I would imagine a bulk of them are, though, just because of the location.
And the
But-
bulk are homeowners, and they don't rent.
Yeah,
So the majority do.
right.
But we appreciate just giving us this opportunity to share this information. You've already helped us get the word out there.
Thank you.
So don't be surprised if we don't come back. We just want to thank everyone for the opportunity to speak this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will now have presentation and adoption of the agenda. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the legislative agenda?
So moved. Second, Melissa.
Ms. English?
Good evening, Council. On the agenda this evening, we have an award of bids, we have declaration of surplus, there is one resolution, we have 5 public hearings, and I would like to note the comments for the public hearing are going to be 3 minutes each, and also the first 2 public hearings will have a vote after the public hearing. The last 3 that are related to the budget will not have a vote today. The vote will take place on June the 8th. Then we have 7 ordinances. Public comment will happen. Those will be 4 minutes, and they will be on topics that were not heard during the public hearing, followed by administration comments, council comments, and then adjournment.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the chair votes aye. Award of bids. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the award of bids?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Love?
I only have one item on award of bids and one item on surplus. So the Department of Procurement seeks award of bid approval from the Salisbury City Council for the solicitations as defined herein. The Department of Procurement follow required procurement policy and procedure as defined by the City of Salisbury Charter and Municipal Code of Ordinances for the procurements presented below. ITV 26109, Fire Station Number 16, Stormwater Improvements for the Department of Infrastructure. We released bids in March, opened them in April. Lowest responsive bidder, Paul's Landworks and Construction LLC. This project's funded out of the 2 GL accounts shown in the packet. There's a really big spread on that bid. So I called a couple folks and they're saying diesel's $6 a gallon, depending on where we have to send trucks from to mobilize and all that. That's why the numbers were all over the place, so.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The chair votes aye. Declaration of surplus. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the declaration of surplus?
So moved, Sharon.
Second, Michelle.
For surplus, it's just a end-of-life 2011 Mazda CX-7 that was in service at the police department, excuse me. It's needed some repairs, and the repairs exceed the value.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the chair votes aye.
Thank you all.
Resolution number 3473, 2026 CDBG Action Plan. Can I get a motion and a second to approve resolution 3473?
So moved.
Second, Melissa.
Ms. English?
Resolution number 3473 is a resolution of the City of Salisbury, Maryland to approve the city's action plan for community development block grant funds for CDBG FY 2026 program year.
Mr. Jackson.
All in favor? Go ahead.
I have something to say. I just wanted to say thank you. Last time we talked about this, I had a lot of questions, and I was able to submit them, and I think within 2 days, I was actually granted answers. I was so impressed, and they were so thorough, and they really kind of hit exactly what, sometimes it's just about questions, so, and then actually following up with answers. That was very helpful. Thank you very much.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I have one question with this. On the busking with the action plan, is that going to be monitored, or is it complaint-driven?
Yeah, you can.
What was your question?
With the performers, the street performers, how that's going to be monitored if there's a concern?
Hi, good evening. So all the CDBG projects are monitored through Finance Department and in collaboration with other departments within the city. So whether it will be DID department or field operations.
Specifically busking, you mean
Yes.
music outside of restaurants?
Yes, yes.
There are rules inside the parks, I think it's the parks, and that's going to guide a lot,
Okay,
yeah,
that's what
exactly,
it is.
yeah.
Okay, yes, so it's
You have to sign
spread
up,
out.
you know.
Okay, thank you, sorry.
Any more questions?
Sure.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Public hearings. The public will have 3 minutes for comments during each public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak during either of the public hearings, please stand now and be sworn in by the city clerk.
Yes.
It's for
Any and
the
all of
public.
them, yeah.
It's for all, you're swearing in for all the public
Any or all,
hearings.
any and all.
Who's outside? Do you need to holler out there, Julie?
If there's anyone,
You might wanna-
if there's anyone
direct
outside,
people-
please come inside the room.
If you wish to be sworn in for the public hearing,
Want to make public comments during the public
Yeah,
hearing,
if you
then you
want
need
to.
to be sworn in.
Let me just step out and make sure there isn't.
yeah.
We're good. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I get a motion and a second to approve Charter Amendment number 2026-2? And we're here for the Charter Amendment Resolution number 2026-2 to amend SC 7-25.
So moved, Sharon?
Second, Melissa.
The time is now 6:24. And the public hearing is now open. Public willing to speak on Charter Amendment Resolution number 2026?
Council President, would you like me just to introduce?
You may.
Charter Amendment Resolution Number 2026-2. This is a charter amendment resolution to amend SC 7-25 of the city charter to change the signatures and authorizations required for disbursement. This has already been before you, and we were just fixing a clerical error to have this go through.
Anyone willing to speak from the public that has been sworn in? Anyone willing to speak? Okay. The The public hearing is now closed for this one. The time is 6:29. Are there any questions? Council?
None.
None? The
We've
question-
talked about it extensively.
All in favor of Charter Amendment Resolution Number 2026-2, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Okay, Charter Amendment Resolution Number 2026-3 to repeal SC 23. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the Charter Amendment Resolution Number 2026-3?
So moved.
Second, Melissa.
Ms. Boucher?
Tonight before you is Charter Amendment Resolution Number 2026-3. This is a resolution of the City of Salisbury to amend Article 23 of the Charter, which authorizes collective bargaining by repealing Article 23 in its entirety and abrogating all collective bargaining rights. Tonight before you for this public hearing, followed by second reading.
The time is now 6:30, and the public hearing is now open. Public may speak.
Good evening, Council President Jackson and members of the council. My name is Anissa Pierce Sessoms. I serve as Executive Vice President with AFSCME Maryland Council 3, representing AFSCME Local 1081. AFSCME Local 1081 members strive every day to deliver great public services for the people of Salisbury. City employees work to provide us with great public parks for the community's recreation. They make sure that our water is clean and safe, make sure that the city's infrastructure and deliver so many other essential public services. We have urged this council at this time we have urged this council time and time again to respectfully respect the dignity of our city employees by recognizing that their voice matters and that their work matters and that they themselves matter. Tonight, I hope you will listen to our call and vote this resolution down. Through my years in public service, I have witnessed the difference my union makes in the workplace. With the union, I know that I am safe and secure to speak with my coworkers about the vital issues impacting our public services and its employees. Through my union, my coworkers and I work together to solve problems in the workplace, create more fair and equitable working conditions, and collaborate with management to improve public services. My union has been the anchor in my life and the lives of my coworkers. It grounds us with the feeling of purpose and security, knowing that my union challenges us with what's faced on our jobs and our communities, and that can be overcome. Your actions tonight will send a strong message to the people who make the city run. Will you step back, pause, and recognize the different paths for Salisbury that exists? One in which you recognize that collective bargaining rights are not a line item in the budget, but rather a fundamental freedom that uplifts workers' voices for the benefit of everyone. Taking away collective bargaining rights will not solve your future budgeted challenges, because everyone here knows the two are completely unrelated. If you pass this resolution tonight, the only thing that you are accomplishing is attempting to silence the workers and sending a clear message that their rights do not matter. Tonight, I hope you reconsider and make the right choice. But if not, tomorrow we will be prepared to stand up and to fight for our future. We believe that is for Salisbury. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr.
You allow
Smith.
applause, you can allow booing.
But you, no.
Oh,
Now
yes,
you're
yes,
being
yes.
rude. You're being rude. And
No, you're being rude.
No, I'm not, because
You're
if you.
not supposed to be speaking.
Yeah, I am. If I'm the president, and if you do it again, you're gonna be escorted out of here. Now I'm telling you.
Get ready for the suit.
Go ahead.
Council members, my name is Jack Hughes. I serve as the union representative with AFSCME Council 3. In my role, I have the honor of working side by side with city workers in the city from AFSCME Local 1081. In 2023, these workers stood together and accomplished a significant victory in winning their union. They knew then what remains true today. Workers are stronger standing together and forming a union to create real, meaningful change in their workplace and in their community. Our members negotiated in good faith with this administration for the first agreement, and this administration was responsible for negotiating their side of the agreement and committing their word by signing it. Now the administration claims that they must repeal workers' collective bargaining rights tonight to solve a future projected budget shortfall, which will occur in fiscal year 2030. This claim is simply not true. First, it must be emphasized that workers' freedom to collectively bargain and a government's responsibility to balance a budget are separate issues. One ensures workers are protected and free to exercise their right for fair working conditions, while the other requires policymakers to examine their current revenues, expenditures, and operations to produce a balanced budget. It's a balancing act, but policyholders have the tools to make the balanced budget. This administration has openly acknowledged in their budget work sessions that in future years they will need to take steps to address the projected budget shortfall. This acknowledgement directly undercuts the arguments for the need to eliminate collective bargaining rights tonight. Finally, we remain committed to negotiate in good faith and reach an agreement. Our union provided initial proposals in January, requested counter proposals from this administration multiple times, and demanded ongoing negotiations to reach an agreement. We still can. Tonight, this council can chart its own path separate from the administration and exercise real leadership by showing it stands with the city workers. Hard conversations happen, difficult choices are made, but solutions cannot happen if one side is unwilling to talk and assumes outcomes without negotiating. We urge you to stand with the city workers tonight, but if not, we are prepared to fight for the rights we have won. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Allison Grice. I'm a resident of Salisbury outside of the city limits. I'm here to comment on the city's proposal. As we already know, that's what this hearing is. At the beginning of each meeting, Council President Ms. Jackson asks the public to be respectful in their comments. People from all corners of the city and beyond have given countless reasons as to why it would be unjustified to take away collective bargaining and block union efforts. The many commentators I've heard speak on the irrationality of removing workers' rights to collectively bargain have been salient, straightforward, fact-based, and respectful in their statements, especially considering what's at stake. What I don't think is respectful is the mayor and city council eliminating the rights of our essential workers, arguing that it is due to financial concerns and limitations. This is a demeaning and inaccurate statement. Rights to collectively bargain do not equate to dollars. Rights to collectively bargain are human rights that help ensure justice, fairness, and equality, or equity. Beyond wages, bargaining rights enable workers to ensure reasonable workloads, scheduling flexibility, and safe environments. Saying that collective bargaining rights are more or less expensive is dancing around the reality of city workers being entitled to negotiate with their employer on all fronts. It appears more so that the city finds it is inconvenient to work with unions and individual workers. That is a nuisance or a headache for the mayor and city council members to have to face the public, hear out their needs, and have conversations about equity. The reasoning behind removing collective bargaining rights is not justified by monetary limitations. It is destructive, demeaning, and disrespectful. If being respectful is a value shared by the mayor and the city council, I ask that you reciprocate that value. I ask that you please vote to protect our workers and allow SC 23 to remain in the city charter. Thank you.
My name is Rosemary Weilander from City of Salisbury. I did take an oath. I want to make sure you know that I'm doing it to the best of my ability, that I'm telling the truth. I have attended several city council meetings, and this is what I have observed. The meetings began with proclamations, praise, and the presentation of certificates to city workers and others. The council then voted on ordinances, and they voted on distribution of grants. Public comments followed, where people much more articulate than I am presented factually based information on why maintaining collective bargaining is fiscally sound and responsible. Next, workers expressed their disappointment over the betrayal by the city council for wanting to rescind collective bargaining. Supporters then spoke of their gratitude for city workers. The support from the community was about 98%. After the comments, the administration and city council responded, with some declaring that no one cared more about the city workers than they did. Soon after, without any time given to process the information presented in the public comments, the city held a preliminary vote to rescind the contract. I truly believe that if you begin a meeting by praising city workers and then say no one cares more than you do for these workers, it really is disingenuous to end the meeting by betraying the people you just praised. I know the pendulum will swing back to loyalty and kindness, but the sad part is that the city workers are the pawns and will suffer in the meantime. As a citizen of Salisbury, I apologize to all city workers who will endure the pain from this betrayal if collective bargaining is rescinded. I ask the city, you still have a chance, please do not betray the workers you praise. Be kind, be loyal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Debbie Krause, and I do not live in Salisbury. I live in Wycomico County, but I come to Salisbury. I'm speaking on behalf of Brian Lewis, who isn't here with us to speak any longer. He's a Salisbury firefighter. And I'm also speaking on behalf of his sister, Allison, and his mother, Joanne Lewis. This is the email she sent to the council or the mayor. Salisbury's decision to consider eliminating the collective bargaining that was instituted just 1 to 2 years ago is not only irresponsible, but flagrantly disgraceful. The city firefighters, police officers, and city workers fought very hard for that agreement. And here we are just a couple years later with the council attempting to renege on that agreement under the guise of budgetary needs. Forget about the excessive perks they've given developers, such as selling waterfront marina property for $1 and a popular parking lot for just $75, plus all the tax breaks they get for years. Not to mention the issue of non-annexed properties outside of the city, reportedly receiving certain services from the city, as well as expensive legal suits brought by developers due to the interference put on their progress by the mayor council. I am speaking primarily for my son, Brian Lewis, who died at the young age of 44 of cancer related to exposure to harmful smoke and chemicals through his 16 years of service to the Salisbury Fire Department. Firefighters and police officers go to work every single day, putting their lives at risk, yet they do it because they love the work they do and the protection they give to the community. Collective bargaining for those people is not just about the security of salaries and benefits. It is also the need to be able to trust this city council to continue to provide current and future safety precautions that need to be put into place to protect those very brave people that the community depends on to come to them in times of great need. It is time for the Salisbury City Council to act with just a tiny degree of the bravery that those workers show and work together to revise the irresponsible practices that have gotten them in this pitifully neglectful position and come up with different ways to finance their budget. Of note, Joanne's parents owned property in Salisbury and lived here for over 50 years. I no longer live in Salisbury. I have a major stake in this decision considering the loss of my son from the Salisbury Fire Department. Even more now, I have a lot of concern for my son's second family within the fire department, that they are supported for the dedication and excellent work that they do. Thank you.
Ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Joan Smith, and I'm proud to serve as president of the Wicomico County Education Association. I represent more than 1,200 public school employees across Wicomico County, many of whom live within the city of Salisbury. Ladies and gentlemen, collective bargaining is not about conflict. Collective bargaining is about collaboration. Collective bargaining creates a structured and respectful process for employees and employers to work together, solve problems, and strengthen their workplace. That's what matters for Salisbury. The employees of the city of Salisbury maintain public spaces, support public services, provide essential needs for our community, and keep it running smoothly every single day. Their experience, their knowledge, their dedication are valuable assets. Removing collective bargaining rights will not solve budget issues. In fact, it risks creating deeper long-term issues by weakening communication, by lowering morale, and by making it harder to retain those professionals, experienced public servants you now engage. Real progress for our community happens when leaders and employees work together in good faith to find solutions that benefit workers, our government, and the community alike. We respectfully urge you this evening, each of you, to continue choosing collaboration over division, partnership over silence, and respect over disengagement. Strong communities are built when public professionals are valued, heard, and empowered to work together for the people of our beautiful community. Salisbury needs the continued voice of the dedicated professionals who serve the community, who make Salisbury great. Vote to continue collective bargaining. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is John McDonald. I'm a shop steward with the local 355 Teamsters. Nearly 5 years, let's see, I'm going to start at the beginning. I've lived in Salisbury most of my life. There were portions of my life where I was not living in Salisbury. I've lived up in Baltimore for 5 months. There in the early 2000s, I couldn't tell the difference between Baltimore and the city of Salisbury. When the unions came into the firefighters and various other organizations devoted to have a union, that was a great thing. Because even amongst us unions, we still vet our own people. What a lot of people don't realize, in part, is that when you take away the unions, you're taking away a separate vetting process that the unions do themselves to make sure that you have high-quality people working for you. Nearly 5 years ago, Mount Air voted to end their relationship with both of their unions. In the 90 days that I was there when they voted them out, 30% of their people were gone that had talent in the first 30 days. 60 days later, 85% of their talent was gone. The last 90 days, their chief shop steward walked out, went up to Alan Harim, knowing the union was a better place for him. I would know because I'm the ex-chief shop steward of Mount Air Farms. Thank you, and you have a wonderful night.
Thank you, sir.
I'm Suzanne Mallow, Druid Hill Avenue, citizen of Salisbury. I used to drive the UPS truck up this plaza here and all around this downtown as a Teamster in Local 355. And then after that, now I've been the past president of the Maryland Classified Employees Association Union for staff at Salisbury University. I'm still a union member, a proud union member. There have been times that I have advocated for staff that were sometimes knowingly, sometimes unknowingly put in situations of safety. And I sat down with our shop steward, with our HR department, and advocated. Worked with the HR department at the university for employees. How many of you who are union members pay dues out of your paycheck for union dues? You pay them. Does the city pay them? Those union dues? No. The people pay. So I guess I'm even shocked we're having this discussion because the citizens, the people that work here too, are paying the dues for the union to be here. I'm 5'1". I sat down with the HR department at the university with the union rep by me to work with them. Why can't you all work with them? Why? I don't understand. It does make a difference. It does make a difference because there are things that happen on the job. Unions oftentimes are aware of safety things that sometimes we all aren't. And it's there to protect and help. Protect everyone. Protect everyone. The worker and the business too. So I stand with my union sisters and brothers, and I'm proud to stand here for you and with you.
Riley Smith, City of Salisbury. The mayor has already succinctly addressed the issue of the union, and I would like to add more facts, and especially for the C math students living in the county and not paying city taxes. I am for paid heroes, but like my family, they get a Kia Soul even though they want a Bugatti. Why? Obviously, I do not have unlimited taxing authority, scary thought. And if I did, I do not belong to a union that tries to negotiate for something I can't afford. I can finally celebrate as 33% mayor who does not play the cruel sheriff of Nottingham and does not spend where there is real and present danger of turning Salisbury into another Los Angeles, Baltimore, Chicago, or New York. Broke and overrun with poor city services, homelessness, panhandlers, drug addicts, and the jobless, yet still only affordable for the rich that have breaking points too. They move out and take job opportunities with them. The city wants affordable housing, yet they have turned Salisbury into a transient rental, non-contributing community with not so affordable rents and outrageous taxes and service fees. He does not spend for votes and does not try to be everybody's friend for personal gain. We have spent millions on bike paths, annexations, unending water and sewer projects, happy festivals, ugly river walks, unused amphitheaters, downtown college dorms, failed drunk buses, bicycle rentals, scooter rentals, poor street designs, and sweetheart deals for friends. Bloated, government with both personnel and buildings and higher crime. 18% of fire, police, and bureaucrats live in the city with salaries and wages totaling $5 million. One way or another, they are paying fair share of city living expenses called city taxes. However, 82%, yes, I said 82%, fire, police, and bureaucrats do not live in the city with salaries, wages totaling over $24 million, contributing no, I repeat, no financial returns to the maintenance of the city called city taxes and water and sewer fees. I also do not support unions and governments offering up every time they want something for themselves. We lose vital services to blue flu, red rash, and whatever the rest of bureaucrats call their tantrum du jour. Unions spend millions of dollars on contributions to political parties, mainly one political party, and their favorite color is blue, and a donkey is their mascot. I do not like my tax dollars used as unwanted political contributions to lobby for increased taxes with generally ridiculous agendas. My desire is to have police merge with Mike Lewis, fire department merge with a county, taking the Salisbury fire chief as its head. Sorry, bureaucracy, but reducing your numbers by 25% should not create a notable city service dilution.
Thank you.
That was entertaining.
No comment. No comment. To the crowd.
I'm trying to speak.
No, you're not supposed to.
I'm sorry.
You're not supposed to comment.
Thank you.
No, you're just supposed to speak to the.
Oh, he can comment. Okay. All right.
I didn't hear it.
Okay. My name is Melissa Bragg, and I'm here representing the professional firefighters of Maryland. I represent over 10,000 career firefighters and EMS workers in the state, active and retired. Been here many times before. I know I'm keeping it very simple tonight because I just don't think that this should go on. We came here, was it last fall, to do the same thing, and the council all voted against it when they realized what was happening. I'm not sure what happened in the change between then and now. I spoke that night. I'm speaking every time this is happening, or every time we've had this meeting. Collective bargaining is not about conflict. It's about communication, fairness, and partnership. The firefighters serving the city of Salisbury dedicate themselves to protecting this community every day, often under difficult and dangerous conditions. All the conditions that he just named, the drug use, the crime, the deterioration of services. We really have to protect what we have with our public works, our police, and our firefighters. We're going to lose excellent employees with a ton of institutional knowledge. Preserving collective bargaining ensures that they maintain a professional voice in workplace safety, staffing, benefits, and working conditions. Strong labor relationships build stronger departments, improve morale and retention, and ultimately benefit the citizens we serve. I just respectfully urge you to think about it again, consider it, find a way to work together, find a way to work through this. Don't just blanket say a no to this. I respectfully urge the city to support collaboration over division and preserve collective bargaining rights for our unions in the city. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak?
Brandon Records, president of Local 4246. I'm going to kind of go off, instead of rambling about a lot of things we've already covered in the last 2 months. I'm going to read to you a statement from the general president of the International Association of Firefighters, Edward A. Kelly. Salisbury firefighters and paramedics aren't asking for something new. They're asking to keep something they already have earned. A voice in decisions that affect their community, along with other public employees whose collective bargaining rights you are also considering stripping away. Please know that the 367,000 members of the IAFF stand firmly in opposition to this misguided proposal. The city has said that this proposal is about financial pressures. Firefighters are a part of their community, and we understand the fiscal realities elected leaders face. But if cost is the issue, collective bargaining is where those issues are worked out. It makes absolutely no sense to tell us that our seat at the table is gone. Think about it. The people of Salisbury depend on career firefighters and paramedics to answer their call on their worst day. Safe communities start with strong departments, and strong departments depend on stability. The stability comes from collective bargaining. It comes from bringing people together to solve problems, not taking away the process that allows them to do it. Stripping collective bargaining rights from firefighters, police, and other public workers is the wrong direction for Salisbury. I urge the Salisbury City Council to reject this proposal. So let's let that sink in. You now have the attention of a national organization, one that represents over 367,000 members between the United States and Canada. You're a city of roughly 36,000. I know for a fact that you are also on the radar of the governor of the state of Maryland, Wes Moore, as well as State Senator Angela Alsobrooks. You have indeed become the black eye of a government over the last 2 months. So I'll raise the question yet again. Why tell people to show up? This is not a vote based on their will. They've made that abundantly clear by their remarks almost unanimously at this podium over the last 2 months. There's a saying that I've heard before numerous times, and I've often referenced it in my own professional career. When you get yourself into a pickle, seems like there's no way out, the walls are closing in, you sit back, you take a breath, and you tell yourself to work the problem. This scenario, you're not working the problem. That wouldn't entail eliminating collective bargaining as an easy scapegoat way out. Working the problem would be like we said all along, to sit down at the same table, have respectful conversation, and come to a solution that works for everyone. It's not that difficult. And I'll have to say, because I'm running out here, but I'm a bit baffled watching the last work session that came up. We've cried poor for the last I don't know how many months, and we can't get these reoccurring costs. But yet we have suddenly added what I assume is $1.5 million of reoccurring cost to just one unit.
Thank you.
Lana, real quick, I think you need to get sworn in.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was in the basement.
Because I was going to ask you.
Beat me to
Were
it.
you sworn in?
You can stand right there.
You too. You're right.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Good evening. Lana Foley, city resident. I'm going to go on a different path here because when I'm listening to the council talk, the biggest concern is that they don't want the city to file bankruptcy. And so I'm trying to understand where the disconnect is on some of our spending in comparison to the fear of bankruptcy that we have. I am in attendance of the Citizens Police Academy with several of the members in the chamber here, and we've been learning about the flock system and how amazing it is for our city, which I agree, but it's also extremely expensive. We've also talked about buying the old City Hall building. We've talked about improvements that are not necessarily grant improvements. I know that there was a grant that the BPAC fought for the Rails for Trails that has been taken from them. And so I'm just trying to figure out, if we're so concerned with bankruptcy, what are we doing to correct that? And have we actually really considered even that as a possibility? Because we don't need to rush removing collective bargaining. It's not a rush. There's nothing that needs you to do that this year. Nothing. The budget's already good. You guys are already paying everybody. There's nothing that this needs to happen. So I'm just trying to figure out why we're in such a rush. We are people that love this city. We want to help it. So if you need help, you need to talk to us. You need to work with us. I also want to say that I thought it was amazing that April went to the council meeting and spoke, the county council meeting, asking for the fair share. I was at the last county council meeting, and there was a woman that talked about the fire department getting insurance money. I don't know what that is, but maybe we need to look into that. I've heard that that's not accurate as far as payments are concerned. But I feel like there needs to be more public communication between the city and the county councils. I think that there could possibly be a lot more movement, more collaboration, more success, because it happens here, it happens in the council. You know, things get shoved under the door, or they just don't get talked about when they're talked about in private. You can't do that when it's public. So I think if you guys want to start working together, maybe that could help us. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, good evening, Council. So, over the last weeks, I've sat with you all in this room and I've listened. I've listened to workers who are scared. I've listened to residents who are frustrated. I have listened to people who've showed up here night after night. So many of these seem familiar faces, because they believed that if they spoke up loudly, if they shared their stories, if they simply kept showing up, that someone here would hear them. And tonight, I think, and what I'm anticipating to be the vote, I think what's going to be the most painful is not even the vote itself. It is the feeling that this decision was already made way before any of these conversations began. Because this process has raised a bigger question than collective bargaining alone. It has raised the conversation of whether everyday people show up and whether their government is actually listening to them. Because I'm hearing often about the discussion of we're doing this to save money. But save money for who? Because we all know here, and I think this is something that seems to get lost by our mayor, there's always a bill that's going to come due. You can eliminate an agreement on paper, you can remove a union from a policy document, you can call it efficiency, you can package it as reform, but the cost is going to show up somewhere. And it's going to show up when experienced employees leave because they no longer feel valued. It's going to show up when departments struggle to recruit. It's going to show up when vacancies sit unfilled. It's going to show up in burnout. It's going to show up in turnover. It's going to show up when the people who know how to actually keep a city running decide they've had enough. And then taxpayers end up paying for the consequences anyway. So let's stop pretending that this is about saving money, because unions save cities money every day. Workers who have a voice stay longer. Workers who feel respected stay longer. Stable workplaces save cities money. Retaining trained employees save cities money. Not having to constantly recruit, to retrain and replace workers saves city money. And that's why I'm trying so hard to better understand the claims I'm hearing from the mayor that this is somehow going to save us money, because it asks us, both the workers and taxpayers alike, to ignore what is right in front of us. We are being told that taking away a voice from our workforce somehow strengthens us as a city, that removing protection somehow strengthens stability, that fewer tools for workers somehow leads to better outcomes for our city. And to me, that just simply doesn't make sense. You cannot say this is about fiscal responsibility while ignoring the cost of turnover, vacancies, recruitment, and losing experienced workers. And you cannot tell working people this decision is for their own good while every single one of those workers is standing here night after night telling you otherwise. It does not make sense, and these people know it. It's exactly why they're here. You cannot say this is for workers while the very workers are standing here telling you otherwise. These are workers who have been showing up night after night. Residents and workers alike, they've rearranged their schedules, they have found childcare, they have left work and sat in these rooms because they believed their voices mattered. So to me, this night is not about a vote on collective bargaining. It's not a vote about labor. To me, it's a test about, does showing up matter for the city? Do the residents of this community actually have a voice, and do their voices matter at all to the city council?
Thank you.
Good evening. Joe Venosa, District 3 of the city. Before I begin, I want to give props to Susanna. She's the only other person tonight who spoke extemporaneously. That's a fancy word for off the cuff. Good job. It's nice to not use a phone. I'm an old guy, sorry. In all seriousness, I wanted to talk again about what has been brought up. I've made my position on this very clear over the last few months, that I think it's a bad decision for many, many reasons. The morale issue has been brought up before, the cost of turnover, all things that people have also mentioned. But the reality here is that even if the council does do away with it, it's more than likely going to come back in the future. And so I guess the question becomes, is it worth taking away now for it to come back in the future? I've also said this before, as others have, that two things can be true at the same time. The simple fact, and this is an irony for me to say, but some of the people that are supporting collective bargaining had a hand in helping the city become bankrupt. There are at least 2 sitting council members and 1 former appointed member who just spoke, who gave away millions of dollars to developers that bankrupted the city. They gave away a lot of the salaries and benefits to Nick Simpson, to Dave Layfield, to Brad Gillis, and in exchange for political support. And that's unfortunate. That has to be said. Nevertheless, I agree with them in the sense that collective bargaining shouldn't be taken away, particularly for our first responders, who we have already heard from the sheriff, we've heard from the state's attorney, and other labor representatives that this is going to be a public safety problem. So I understand why people are going to vote the way that they do, because you're going to vote the way that you think is important for the future of the city, and we're all going to have to live with that vote. But I would say, realistically, that it's probably going to come back in the future. One thing that is also going to come back, and I hope people are still listening to me here, is the issue of the fire service agreement that contributes to this very issue. You spoke, President Jackson, at the council meeting. A few others in the audience spoke. I would hope all of you get up and go to the council meeting and talk about that, because one of the reasons why the city is in the financial mess it's in is because we are exploited by the council at the county level. County council, thank you, sir. Because ultimately we are paying way more for what we get. And that's not fair, and I think this contributes to some people's decision for this vote tonight. Again, I don't agree with that, but I think that's driving some of your rationale. So again, I don't believe this should be done. I think it's a mistake. I think it's a morale killer. Ask any cop and firefighter and city worker. But nevertheless, it's probably going to come back in the future. So take heart. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jared Shabline, and I'm a resident of District 3. There is still time for the council to do the right thing, but I have no confidence in this body's ability to listen or lead. So tonight, I want to speak directly to the city workers and the first responders in this room. I'm sorry that this government does not have your back. I'm sorry they don't care about your family's well-being or your financial security. And I'm sorry you're going to have to sit here later tonight and listen to self-congratulatory speeches from politicians who claim they stand for working families, stand for politicians, and have your backs while voting to take away your rights and your voice on the job. Everything about this vote is disgusting. This is exactly why people hate politics and politicians and don't bother voting in our city elections. The so-called leaders are trying to shove bad public policies down our throats here in the city of Salisbury against our will. We've all spoken against this. All it does is attack the people that keeps the city safe, keep the city running, and make sure our government functions every day. But the beautiful thing about the city of Salisbury is why petty politicians will try and override the will of the people still have a way to fight back. Tomorrow morning, the petitions to put this very question on the ballot become available. Many of you in this room have agreed to sign the petition. Many of you have already committed to knocking doors and collecting the needed signatures. Over the next 40 days, if this goes forward, we will knock doors, we will talk to our neighbors, collect signatures, and build a movement across the city. And we will need every single person in this room to make that happen. When this question gets on the ballot, the people of Salisbury will finally have their say. When the election comes, we will bury this terrible piece of legislation at the ballot box. So tonight, be angry. You have every right to be angry. But tomorrow, turn that anger into action. Sign the petition, join us collecting signatures, knock doors, go to community events where we'll collect signatures, talk to your neighbors, because we can stop this. We will stop this. And no matter what happens in this chamber tonight, the will of the people of Salisbury is not dead. I hope they'll do the right thing. I feel like I have a better chance of parting the Red Sea like Moses than them doing the right thing, so I look forward to walking with all of you tomorrow to start getting these signatures and killing this damn thing at the ballot box. Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to speak? The public hearing is now closed. The time is 7:14. Council questions? Council questions? None? Okay, roll call for the vote. Councilwoman Blake?
Yay.
Councilwoman DeShields?
Yay.
Councilwoman Holland?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gregory?
Nay.
Myself as chair, aye.
Shame. 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 Shame.
Ordinance number 2999, FY 2027 budget ordinance.
April,
Ms. Boucher?
April, you might want to wait a second, because
Use the bathroom real quick. I'll be back.
President Jackson, would you like me to go ahead and introduce?
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance number 2999. This is an ordinance appropriating the necessary funds for the operation of the government and administration of the City of Salisbury for the period of July 1, 2026 to June 30, 2027, establishing the levy for the general fund for the same fiscal period, and establishing the appropriation for the water and sewer, parking authority, city marina, and stormwater funds. This is before tonight for a public hearing only, and I believe Mr. Race is here to present any changes that have taken place since it was presented for work session and first reading.
Time is now 7:16. Public speaks.
Mr. Race, do you have something you want to add?
Yeah, I was going to say, based on the work sessions that we had, I wanted just to go over the additions that you guys have agreed to. $55,000 was added for the fire department for AEDs. $135,000 was added for the fire department to finish their radio purchase. There was an increase in salaries and fringe between police and fire of $1.65 million. And then the trash truck that was put in the 2 work sessions ago was removed in the last work session on Thursday night. Other than that, there was no changes to the budget.
Is there any public that wishes to speak? Does anyone wish to speak? The public hearing is now closed. The time is 7:18. Ordinance number 3000 FY 2027 water sewer rate ordinance. Ms. Boucher?
Ordinance number 3000, this is an ordinance of the City of Salisbury to amend the water and sewer rates to increase rates by 2.5% and making said changes effective for all bills dated October 1, 2026 and thereafter, unless and until subsequently revised or changed. Again, this is also before you tonight for a public hearing only.
The time is now 7:19. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak? Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak?
Can I make one comment, please? Anybody in the public that would like a breakdown on that 2.5% increase, if you look at the packet that is available to you tonight, Slides 98 to 101 breaks it down really well so that it's easier to understand.
Okay, the public hearing is now closed. It is now 7:19. Ordinance number 3001 FY 2027 fee ordinance. Ms. Boucher?
Ordinance number 3001, this is an ordinance of the City of Salisbury to set fees for FY 2027 and thereafter unless and until subsequently revised or changed, again, before you tonight for public hearing only.
The time is now 7:20. The public hearing is now open. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak? Again, is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak? The public hearing is now closed and it's 7:20. Ordinances. Ordinance number 2997, city parking garage repairs. Can I get a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 2997 for second reading?
So moved. Second, Melissa.
Ms. Boucher?
Ordinance number 2997, an ordinance of the City of Salisbury approving a budget amendment of the city's capital project fund to provide funding for the city parking garage structure repair, and the amount of that is $35,000 before you tonight for second reading, no changes or amendments.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the chair votes aye. Ordinance number 2997, Fire Department overtime funds. Can I get a motion and a second to approve number 2998 for second reading?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Boucher?
Ordinance number 2998, approving a budget amendment of the FY 26 general fund budget to appropriate funds to the Salisbury Fire Department's operating account before you tonight for second reading. No changes or amendments.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Ordinance number 3002, loan for Naylor Mill project. Can I get a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 3002 for second reading?
So moved, Sharon.
Second, Melissa.
Ms. Boucher?
Ordinance number 3002, an ordinance of the City of Council, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Salisbury to authorize and empower the city to issue and sell from time to time upon its full faith and credit one or more series of general obligation bonds in an original aggregate principal amount not to exceed $4,874,910 for the public purpose of financing or reimbursing costs of a project that the city generally refers to as the Naylor Mill Water Main Extension Project, together with related costs as provided herein, determining that any such series of bonds be sold to the Maryland Water Infrastructure Financing Administration by private sale without public bidding, authorizing the approval by resolution of the final or substantially final form of any loan agreement with the administration, and with respect to any such loan agreements, acknowledging the administration's rights thereunder, making a pledge of certain revenues receivable from the state of Maryland, and acknowledging certain payment responsibilities of the city, providing that the council by resolution shall determine or provide for certain details of any series of general obligation bonds, pledging the city's full faith and credit and unlimited taxing power to the payment of any such bonds, and providing for the imposition of ad valorem taxes upon all real and personal property within the city, subject to assessment for unlimited municipal taxation, to pay any such issued bonds, providing that by resolution, the council may provide for or identify other sources of revenue to be pledged to payment of any issued bonds or from which any issued bonds will be payable in the first instance, authorizing the council by resolution to provide for post-closing modifications affecting any issued series of bonds, authorizing officials and employees of the city to take certain actions in connection with any issued bonds, including as may as may be delegated by the council by resolution designating in order of priority the city officials authorized to attest to the city seal, providing that this title shall be deemed a statement of the substance of this ordinance for all purposes, also providing that the provisions of this ordinance shall be liberally construed and otherwise generally relating to the sale, issuance, delivery, and payment of and for any issued series of bonds. This is before you tonight for second reading. There's been no changes or amendments since first reading.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Ordinance number 3003, Monarch Grant. Can I get a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 3003 for first reading?
So moved, Sharon.
Second, Melissa.
Ms. Boucher?
Ordinance number 3003, an ordinance of the City of Salisbury authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with the Safe Monarch for the purpose of accepting grant funds in the amount of $4,945 and to approve a budget amendment to the grant fund to appropriate these funds for expenses associated with supporting monarch and other native pollinator populations. Before you tonight for first reading.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Ordinance number 3004, Live Arts in Public Spaces. Can I get a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 3004 for first reading?
So moved. Second, Melissa.
Ms. Boucher?
Ordinance number 3004, this is an ordinance of the City of Salisbury amending Title 5 of the Salisbury City Code, creating a new chapter entitled 5.45 Live Arts and Public Spaces, before you tonight for first reading.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the chair, anybody opposed? Chair votes aye. 5. Ordinance number 3005, Vehicle Monitoring Program. Can I get a witness and a second to approve ordinance number 3005 for first reading?
So moved, Sharon.
Second, Melissa.
Ms. Boucher?
Ordinance number 3005, this is an ordinance of the City of Salisbury to accept funds awarded by the Local Government Insurance Trust, referred to as LEGIT, for the City of Salisbury Department of Field Operations implementation and expansion of vehicle monitoring software, and the amount of that grant is $10,000.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Ordinance number 3006, Legal Fees. Can I get a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 3006 for first reading?
So moved, Melissa.
Second, Sharon.
Ms. Boucher?
Ordinance number 3006, this is an ordinance of the City of Salisbury approving a budget amendment of the FY 2026 general fund budget to appropriate additional funds required for legal services, and that amount is $175,000.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
I actually have a
Your
question.
Go ahead.
I do. Okay, so on here, we have 120. Is that 120? Did we get invoices for that general legal services and support? That's additional to what was billed?
That is additional money needed to get us through the rest of the fiscal year. That is an estimation.
It's an estimate. So is any portion of this money already been used, or have we gotten a invoice for these services?
We get monthly invoices. This is to carry us through. So this is for future invoices to pay those. Again, if it's not spent, it goes back into the general fund. It's not being committed to it. It's as needed.
And we're going to be 120 over because of all this.
There's I can get you a list, but there's various things between MPA requests and union discussions. There's a lot of things that the HR department uses them for, that DID uses them for. So, I couldn't clarify exactly why.
Because I know totally we have not gotten every invoice for every month for the whole year, I don't think. I think I've gotten like maybe 3 months at a clip. Like maybe twice I got 3 months. I think another time I got like 1 or 2. The $55,000, the other attorney services, did we get a separate invoice for that $55,000
again, it's not, the 55,000, actually, that part is paying off an invoice. We need additional money to pay March's invoice, but the 55 is what's going to be paid to them for future services rendered before the end of the fiscal year.
Did we get an invoice for
They
the
invoice
services?
us, yes, they invoice us monthly.
Okay. Did the council get that, or did I miss it?
I don't know if it was sent to the council. If you want, I can send it to you. I can send you March's. That's the most recent one that I have. That was $14,000 that we don't have any funds left to pay it.
Yeah, personally, I would prefer to have all the invoices for all the legal costs before I voted on anything else.
Okay.
That's all I'm asking.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Sorry, I misunderstood. What would you just say?
She wants all the invoices.
I just said I would personally prefer all the invoices before I say yes to any money going in to the general fund for these additional legal fees. I like to have the invoices of what's already been spent, like the $14,000. I want to make sure that the council's gotten all the invoices. I'm not sure we have.
I want to be clear. I will send those invoices to you, but we don't have a choice to not have an attorney or a union attorney. So we have to, by law, have an attorney firm or law firm. So
Yeah, these have to be paid. I mean, and we have to, I mean, there's going to be upcoming, it's got to be there. I mean.
I'm just saying, listen, it's okay. It's okay. We can disagree. It's okay. No blood pressure.
It is.
Yeah. It is.
Ask you permission? I don't think we were asking permission.
No, I'm not.
I don't think we were asking.
And I don't have to explain why I don't need it. So what I'm saying to you is, I'm just saying, I prefer not to vote on it until I actually have the invoices. That's it.
Okay, well, that's great.
Thank you, Nick.
I will send you.
Nick, thank you. I was talking to you, Nick. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Nick.
Lance, and look. You got, that's right, you have to have the money
Yes.
there.
Thank you, Sandy.
I don't think me saying no is going to delay anything.
we're
I don't think
talking
that's going to. Right.
No.
I don't think me saying no is going to
Well,
delay
we need
anything.
to have money in the account
Right.
so we
That's
can
fine.
pay who we have to pay.
I mean, do what you got to do. I'm saying no. I'm just wanting the invoice.
Right.
Okay.
I will send
Thank
it to
you.
I didn't never
Thank
say
you, Nick.
the right. But what I'm saying is, that's anybody has a bill that's coming to them, you need to have the money there for it.
And the council needs to have the invoices for the legal expenses. Thank you. That's it.
Done.
Thank you.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yeah, me.
Michelle, did you vote?
I said aye.
Okay, I didn't hear you. That's why I asked. Okay. And the chair votes aye, so it's 3-1. Okay, we come to this point of public comment.
4-1.
4-1.
4-1. I mean, what did I say?
3-1.
Well, I'm sorry.
This
I
is,
apologize.
and this is just for first reading.
Yeah, for
It
first
still
reading,
has to
yeah.
come back for second.
I apologize. I wrote 4 and just said 3.
As well.
Public comments will now be heard on topics that were not addressed during the public hearing. You will have 4 minutes. So, we now, anybody that wish to do public comment?
1 second to adjust the timer, sorry.
Okay.
Chris comes to my rescue.
Time is up.
It didn't start yet.
Okay, you?
Oh, I was, okay. Joe Scafino, Salisbury. 2 things, and I'll probably won't take 4 minutes. Just kind of a sad commentary on society. I sympathize with all the moms and the daycare issue, but my fellow baby boomers can remember growing up, there really was no need for daycare. Moms didn't have to work. One income supported a family. And then in 1971, we went off the gold standard. And government inflation a $1971 is now $8.22 today. So, and a lot of the moms that are working, their entire salary goes to pay for the daycare. So it's like they're swimming against the tide. So again, I sympathize with them, but it's just a commentary on where society has gone. Second issue hasn't come up yet, but is going to, there's the Bowers Peninsula or Bowers Island off of 13. There's been a request to change the zoning on that to commercial. It's currently zoned R5A. The applicant is asking to have it changed to commercial for the future. And my opinion is that we have more than enough commercial properties already, many of them abandoned, blighted. If we had a need for commercial, I could see granting that. What we do need is more residential building that is zoned for residential. So I would urge the council to consider keeping it zoned as is. We don't have no more further need.
Okay, Mr. Sharp, could you tell us where Byers Island is located? Because I'm not.
It's called Bowers Island, but it's Tony Tank on 13 near the bowling alley that juts in.
I know what you're talking about. I mean, I just want, because I've never
understood.
I've never heard it called that.
Okay, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael Langford, 1026 Arthur Court. I guess I just wanted to say I guess thank you to the job that you all do, everyone on City Council, because it's not easy whether things are going the way that you think they ought to be or not. It is very saddening to me to just see how many people left in the sense of that was their commitment. I think that the thing to remember is that it's the same 40 people with the same tired lines that are declarative sentences as though their personal belief system ought to dictate how the rest of us live. And then when you walk out after making those kinds of statements, it really affirms your dedication to yourself and only yourself. And there used to be a word that people use more commonly, selfishness. Now we've pathologized everything to being a type of narcissism, but really I think that alleviates the personal responsibility for people to be invested in the things they care about, And I think that one of the things that I want to continue to see is a trend towards, people who serve the public in some capacity in their, when they're publicly elected representatives. And I think that, I just had wished that there'd be more people that had a more firm commitment here tonight to the city and seeing it do well, regardless of whether or not they got their way in one moment. And again, just to thank you all for the job that you're all doing. And also a reminder that those 40 people do not represent 35,000 people that live in the city. So while it feels disheartening in this moment, in this room, those people were here for themselves, only that, and not for the city. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna crack this.
Good evening. Michael Langford, 1026 Arthur Court. I've been waiting just to get a laugh out of Ashley for months. If only I was that tall and handsome. No, the annoying guy from Russell Avenue, Joe Venosa. Real quick, just to piggyback off of what was said earlier by Mr. Scafino, I also wanted to bring to the council's attention and my concerns with the proposal to convert the property at 1522 South Salisbury Boulevard from residential to commercial. Again, and maybe I'm just so old school, but I was taught that when there's a piece of land that sticks out into water, it's called a peninsula, not an island. It's called Bowers Island. Don't know why. Nevertheless, this property, Bowers Island, has, again, been put into the DID staff report regarding a conversion. I would argue that this would be detrimental to the neighborhood. I've talked to several of the property and homeowners. It's literally a home that is in the middle of a pristine part of Tony Tank. I don't know what commercial possibility would even be entertained there. It's my understanding that this was proposed also back in the 70s and it was shot down. But it seems to me not to make much sense in any physical or logistical way. And I can tell you that several dozen homeowners and property owners are very concerned about that. So just as a concerned neighbor who lives in that part of the community, please don't let that be a conversion into commercial property. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Riley Smith, Salisbury. I just want to congratulate Ms. Holland, Ms. Jackson, and Ms. DeShiel for making a rational decision, even in the face of a thundering herd. These people seem to think that dollars and cents make no difference. Well, it probably doesn't to them. But that's one of the reasons this country is has a $37 trillion debt. And I applaud the mayor for taking a stand and sticking to it, because I lived through the Jake Day, Jack Heath regime, and it was spend, 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 happy, 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 and I knew who was going to end up paying for it. And thank you for actually standing up for the taxpayers. Now, I'm not against police, fire, and all that, but they have to be rational, and that's what the vote was about to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Lana Foley, city resident. I don't really have a whole lot to say, but I think the rumors were that they wanted to make that into a hotel. So I think that's where that is coming into play. I wasn't going to bring this particular thing up, but since the budget on legal representation is being brought up already, this evening there was an article in the Watershed Observer on Substack.
I'm sorry.
I know he's your favorite.
I was choked, I'm sorry.
About the 2021 Salisbury City Council resolution appointing CBM as the city solicitor, stating that the firm would match the prior city solicitor's hourly billing rate. Supporting materials attached to the resolution identified that that rate was at $152.50 per hour. Publicly accessible city records and correspondence indicate that CBM later billed an hourly rate of $165 an hour and more recently $175 an hour, while the city more recently asserts that there are no agreements, contracts, or engagement letters between the City of Salisbury and CBM law firm, including all amendments, addenda, and documentation regarding hourly rates or billing procedures. So on that note, since we're talking about billing, that might be wanting to be something to look into.
Okay, thank you. Any more public comments? Okay, Mr. Taylor, I knew you were here for something.
Knew I was here for a reason. First, a little history lesson. I can't explain why it's called an island, but the name Bauer comes from the person who built the home there.
Okay.
Mr. Bauer. He used to have the big junkyard on Route 13. Remember that?
Yeah.
Years ago, I don't think it's there anymore, but when I first moved here 50 years ago, I think every used car that was no longer runnable was in that junkyard. It was a huge eyesore. Anyway, you've heard various comments on things tonight, some more important than others. I'm going to probably hit what I think is the most important, and that is the way the county is shortchanging the city on the fire and EMS service. Now, they've discussed that, and when I say they, I mean the county council has discussed this twice within the last week. They had a work session Monday a week ago and Friday. On Monday, the mayor and the chief gave an excellent presentation about why we deserve more money, probably about twice what is in Giordano's budget for this coming year. They also discussed it on Friday in a budget recap session for all of about 4 minutes. and decided to do nothing significant. That's now on YouTube. I think I sent you a link. In fact, I think I sent you the audio to what was spoken on Friday, which was just nonsense, basically. They're also tomorrow morning here, 8:30, having another budget recap session. I don't know whether it will be discussed or not. When I say they, I'm talking about the county council now. After that meeting, they're going to have a regular meeting with public comment. And I would urge everybody to be here and speak to that, because we are getting shafted. And something is going to have to be done if they're not going to pay a fair price for the service that we're providing. And that, I think, eventually is going to have to be, unless they come through, cutting down on our service outside the city. As the chief says, we handle, I think, about half the calls in the county outside the city, roughly 50%. It's about 30% of the workload of the fire department. If we have to start cutting back, I mean, I'll give you some subdivisions. Some of these people better start thinking about it. Hunting Park, Druid Hill Park, River Island Estates, Nistdale, Steeplechase, Hyde Park, Park Manor, where we're putting in sewer. We're certainly going to be providing sewer service soon. Shorewood Manor, Kathleen's Delight, there are a bunch of them. And I mean, this is important. And the mayor and the chief have tried very hard to present, and I think, a very logical and correct case, but we're not getting anywhere. They just simply don't want to pay. And I'll point out, this is also for the volunteer companies. They've asked for more money, particularly for the 3 or 4 companies that would be Fruitland, Delmar, Parsonsburg, and Hebron, 4 of them, that provide more calls than the others that are further out, such as Sharptown. And they've asked for it based on their calls. They're not giving that either. They simply do not want to pay for service. And this is a serious situation. I'm sorry it's come to that, but it has, and I think if we don't come through, they're going to extend their time to pass their budget until June the 15th. So we're not actually going to know for sure until then. But if they don't come through with a logical amount, I think as soon after that as possible, we need to start talking about what we're going to do. And another thing we need to do, because we're in a fiscal crunch, is get rid of the Horizon program. And I'll be talking to you more about that shortly. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more public comments? No? Administration?
I only have one today. Shore Walls in Brandon Bell and his company is doing the 7 murals this week around the downtown area. I highly recommend going out there and taking a look at what he's doing. He's got a stand set up with some t-shirts, and I believe tomorrow at 2 there's a community painting where you can show up to the one that's by Mogan's, between the Mogan's and the parking garage, and you can show up and contribute there. So Brandon's doing a great job.
Yeah, I just want to make a couple comments. A little frustrating tonight. I'm glad we have this vote at least behind us. I think it's very frustrating to have a lot of people here that don't even live in the city come and people out of the area come and comment. This is a difficult decision for everybody. Council, and the mayor's office, but we had to make it on the basis of the reality of the finances. I think there are people that comment on this that never been married, never bought a house, never owned a business, never put capital at risk, never had to balance a budget, never had, not everybody in the room, but there are folks in the room that's the case. And, a thimble worth of life experience and a whole lot of, this is what you need to do kind of advice. And, these are very practical and mathematical realities that we've got to live in. It can be very easy to be bold from a safe distance. Does that make sense? So I'm glad with it over. I'm proud of the council for making the hard decision, and I'm hoping to move forward, with peace and harmony. Let's put it that way. Thank you.
Councilwoman Holland?
Okay. I wasn't going to make any comment about the collective bargaining tonight, but there is one thing I want to say. I've had a couple people approach me, I don't understand a working family. I actually find that quite humorous because I have worked since I was 15 years old. I have worked 2 jobs, raised children, put myself through college. I do understand the working family. I also understand that in December I took an oath in the seat that I was going to be a steward of finances. There's no way I could sat behind this table tonight and not cast the vote I did based strictly on the budget. I attended every budget work session. I attended the closed session. I heard where we were at. I will say it again, it is not fiscally responsible to fund an operating budget off of a surplus. It's not sustainable. I do care about the workers as much as people want to say that's not true. I'm a worker, always have been, and I do care. So I'm sorry that this is the way it came. Mistakes were made in the past that brought us to where we are today. I did what I felt was responsible for this city. I do not want to be the council person that bankrupted this city within the next 8 years. So that was my reasoning for the vote. On a positive, I did attend the junior achievement held in under 18 at their junior achievement building. It was phenomenal. These students, some have started businesses. It really made you sit back and go, wow, the students were outstanding, and it was so great to see them get awards. And it was all over the DMV, so it was fantastic. Last Tuesday, I went to the Glow Club and spoke to the young girls at the Newton Community Center. Kelsey is doing great things over there, and me and those young girls had a fantastic conversation. Fantastic. Last thing I will say, and I'm going to let April have this one, but there was a Queen City outside parade on Sunday, and we were all in, me, Sharon, and April, and it was phenomenal. And that's it.
Don't forget the mayor.
And Randy. Oh, I forgot. He drove us. Oh, gosh. I'm sorry.
I was driving.
You took my phone.
He was also
for a moment.
But the 3 of us weren't together.
No.
April was separate.
April's in a separate car.
I appreciate you clarifying that.
Yes.
So, and that's it. Thank you.
Councilwoman Gordon.
There is a lot I could say, but I'm not going to speak off the cuff right now. I need to get my thoughts together on everything that happened tonight because I am incredibly disappointed with this council, particularly the council president who was there when we had first created, and you can chuckle all you like and be disrespectful while I'm speaking, all you like, but you were there when we fought to get this passed because of the compressions of salaries, and you all say we're going to go back to a merit system. That was what we had before, and it was not working. People were getting left behind because the can was kicked down the road because of financial constraints. I cannot believe that we are eliminating after just 2 years, after years of fighting for it, we are undermining these workers, these people who give their lives to the city. Let me tell you something. About a week and a half ago, I was having problems with this phone, my phone. I was having problems making outgoing calls. And we had a medical emergency with Nick. I had to make a phone call, and my calls wouldn't go through. And that was the scariest few minutes of my life when I realized I needed to find my husband's phone very quickly so I could make a phone call. Now, I can make that phone call. And because we're losing EMS workers, because we're losing firefighters, it may not be the lack of phone service that causes a delay, but the lack of adequate staff. Because we are going to lose employees. And that terrifies me as someone who relies on those EMS guys to show up. And for all the families I know who rely on these EMS people to show up. You know, and I don't remember getting a memo about this Queen City thing. So next time, please CC me on that. I think what happened here tonight is what we can look forward to for the next 18 months. And I am just appalled at the glib behavior dismissiveness, the chuckling at comments from the public that don't align with the majority on this council or the mayor's office. I'm ashamed of this council. I'm ashamed of the leadership in this city. And I don't want to say anything else because I'm going to start getting rude.
Councilwoman Blake.
Good evening, everyone. I do appreciate everyone coming out and sharing their thoughts and comments. I wanted to do a shout out to Sarah Lee Monroe for doing the ghost ride last Wednesday night. I wasn't able to attend personally because of my work schedule, but it was a ride that honors every bike rider who's ever been lost by being hit while riding their bicycle, and it is a national event, and Salisbury has participated in it. I think this is the third or fourth year. But anyway, each year it's getting bigger and bigger, and it just brings awareness to road safety, and it was a very nice event, very well attended. Okay, so I wanted to circle back briefly to the issue, and maybe we could bring it back on a next or coming up work session, to bring back the issue about our legislative codes in regards to home daycare. I know we had some issues with that recently, and I just want to come back and make sure that we're aligning with the state, minimizing the barriers to home daycare providers here in the city. We had some recent concerns. We had a home daycare provider apparently struggling. I want to bring back how that's been resolved, if any, and to see where we are with our code and the alignment with the state. I didn't think there was a conclusion to that. So I just wanted to put that on the agenda to see if we could figure out if there's anything we can do in light of the presentation this evening, to see if there's anything we could do to close up our legislation and our codes to maybe more helpful to people being home daycare providers. And as always, just make sure that recently in my own family, there's been some medical emergencies. And I just want to remind people that donating blood and plasma and making sure you're an organ donor really, really is important. Please consider doing that. It's probably the biggest thing you can do for your fellow man. And that's it.
Thank you. Councilwoman Shields.
Okay, here we go. First of all, I would like to thank Chief Mindshine, who allows any of us to do a ride-along. And I did one Friday night. And just for those of you that have asked about the patrolling of the tunnel over under the railroad tracks by off Route 13, that is on their schedule. They are constantly patrolling that tunnel for anyone who is sleeping there or should not be there at night and during the day. And they're also patrolling the playgrounds, which has come up in public comments as well. So that's kind of an update. And I had Patrolman First Class Luke Boatling, who actually took me with him, and his baby son is due any day. So you can imagine. It was wonderful, and thank you very much for that.
Did they let you carry a service weapon?
No, my God,
Okay,
I'm afraid of
check.
guns. So never mind.
Probably weighs more than her.
No, I'm afraid of guns. But they had a couple of stops. I now understand when there's only one officer in a car, that when people, the public sees 2 or 3 cars, 3 or 4 cars, and they go, seriously, this is overkill, it actually is not. Because they work as a team, and you may have 3 on that team, 4 on that team, but they each have each other's backs. And it's a fine-oiled machine. So that's my plug for them tonight. The last town gown luncheon at SU was held. Their enrollment is almost 7,000 incoming undergrads, which has not happened in a few years, so they're thrilled about that. The National Police Memorial and Awards, Melissa, April, myself, Randy, Nick, Alan, all were able to attend. It was held in front of the old City Hall and honored Henry T. Stevens, who was killed in the line of action. This is a national week every year that the police departments all over the country honor those fallen heroes. So it was a very moving, a very well done presentation, and I think the family felt very, very comforted by having that happen for them. Nick, you stole the murals thing, which is so cool, because they're going to be painting every night from 5 to 7, and I think it's a great, great idea. I'm not painting, but they are.
He has artists all the way from California that flew in to contribute to this too. So it's
really cool. Oh, I have the list. May I take a minute and tell you where they are? One quick.
Someone wants to go home.
Never mind. Just because you said no, I'm going to make you listen. Roadie Joe's Walkway, behind the former Market Street Books Place, the alley next to Mogan's, near the something on the Riverwalk, I can't read my writing, and Avery Hall facing Route 13. So that's where we are. Next week, those of you that are interested in going to absolutely, it will blow your mind. I participated before on June 1st from 10 until 3 at SU. It is entitled Navigating Life After Incarceration. And it's a simulation, and it will just really give you a wake-up call as to what these people have to deal with. And any of us could be there, not from committing crimes, but just at any time be in a bad situation. So that's it. What are you having?
No, not a whole lot. But it's really not a time to laugh.
No.
But to keep from crying, I mean, even with the union, it wasn't something that I wanted to do, honestly. It really wasn't something. But as Melissa has said, and I concur with her, before I would allow this city to go into bankruptcy, I will stand firm on my beliefs. Nobody persuaded me or anything. Like I said, and I'll say it immediately, I think for myself. And as for the Queen City Elks Lodge Parade, it was on Facebook, and I have said it a few times right here at our meetings. So anybody that wanted to be a part of that, Lana, she got right in touch with me. So it was there for anybody to see. I never hid anything from anybody. I never hide anything. And there were no private emails in reference to this to any council member, mayor, or anything. And the only reason why I did do the mayor is because he asked me to give him a reminder. So I just want to make that known. Anything I do from my heart. I don't dislike anybody up here. No one. And we must realize that we're going to agree to disagree. We're not going to always be on the same level. We're not going to be voting the same. And that's what we have to understand. When it was 3 of them against 2 of us, it was fine. But now it's ugly. And I'm tired of it. I'm really tired of it. Why can't we come up here and act like civil adults? I mean, don't call me out for something because I did something 2 or 3 years ago. I have a right to change my mind. That's why I'm sitting in this seat. I'm a president. I'm a mother. I'm a leader. I do what I have to do. And what I'm doing right now is trying to save our city from going into bankruptcy. Miss Angela, this is Councilwoman Blake, this is meant for you, and I want to put it on the record. There was a flyer put out. And I'm going to ask, before you put my picture on anything anymore, please convey it with me. Please convey it with me. I don't need a response. I don't need a response. You weren't getting I just want you to convey it with me, and I'm putting it on public record so people can hear. It was nothing no more than that. I can't speak for somebody else, but I didn't like it. I just didn't like it.
Council President, I hate to interrupt. I would say that if we're going to use Chat GPT and if we're going to use AI, that maybe we be mindful on how it actually works and maybe get the information in the actual flyer correct, because I do serve District 2. So I would appreciate that if one of us is going to actually post such a... I just say a flyer at this point. That's all I got. Let's learn how to use the systems before we go and send things out.
By the way, I am District 3. It was incorrect on that for me, too.
Okay. Our meeting is now adjourned. It is now 8